Welcome back to the YouTube channel. I'm your host, Moises Beauchamp. We're back with another live edition coming at you. Another live edition. Come in, hit that like button. If you're new, you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. Like that, you are sure to be notified when we go live or we upload. Today, we're here talking about all of these mysteries in the quest to find the little Dulce Alavez. We have an article that we would like to share with you. My lovely wife and co-host Brenda is going to share with you this article that was updated back in September 19th of 2019, back last year, when this all began. And we'll go ahead and share this article with y'all real quick. Just give me a minute. While I'm looking for this article, baby girl, you want to say hi to them?
Oh yeah, hello. Welcome back. Thank you for tuning in today. While he's up there setting up, we're just sharing. Make sure you guys share that we're live. Like that people can know that we're on. We're just like we do, we're gonna go back to the beginning, share talk about an article that was updated on September 19th of 2019, like about 3 days after Dulce went missing. Let me pull up that article now. Let me have that article myself ready. You guys might want to take out some, maybe a paper and pencil. We might have, this article might have information for you that you haven't received before maybe. You might want to jot down some notes while we're discussing this article. Now, school just started, so just imagine a whole nother school year started, and still, no little Dulce. I have no idea why now my thing doesn't want to open.
Supposed new school year, and still don't have this little girl. We still haven't found her, and it's sad. It's really, really sad. You know, with all the crazy stuff that's been going on within the case itself. Like from the very beginning, you got people that were kind of like dissing the mom, all because she was eating a slice of pizza, you know, and she got criticized because she basically stopped showing up at a lot of the events that were going on, due because everybody was kicking her back in. So, you know, she was damned if she did, damned if she didn't. And it seems like that is still the case. And it's sad. But, you know, whatever they had something to do with it, the family, I mean, or not, this little girl still deserves everybody's 100% attention, you know, and not all the drama. But that's it, baby girl. Take it away.
All right. It's called Mother of 5-year-old South Jersey girl apparently abducted in Bishop Park grieves and waits. And remind you, this article was updated on September 19, 2019. It says the search for Dulce Maria Alavez remains underway, with officials reporting no major breaks in the effort to find the girl or the red band used in her suspected abduction. Authorities and the child's family appealed for help in the case on Thursday, and search efforts at the park continued on Friday. Noema Alavez Perez, whose 5-year-old daughter, Dulce Maria Alavez, was apparently abducted Monday from a park in Brition, Cumberland County, wasn't acting the way some people thought she should. People think I'm not going crazy enough, said Alavez Perez, 19, as she sat in her parents' Brition house Wednesday, moments after returning from a church where she prayed for her child's return. She recounted on Tuesday, having not eaten for 36 hours, she accepted a slice of pizza from a family member as she stood in the Brition City Park, the site of the abduction, and was approached by a stranger who volunteered to search for her child. If my daughter was missing, I wouldn't eat, this lady yelled at me, said Alavez Perez, a Brition native. Then she started taking a video of me. My mother told me not to go back to the park because everyone is talking bad about me. Even the authorities have been suspicious, she said. The police tell me, if you know where she is, tell us. But I told them everything. They think I'm lying. I'm telling the truth. What Alavez Perez has said is that on Monday, after buying ice cream for her 8-year-old sister, her 3-year-old son Manuel, and for Dulce, she drove to the park. While Alavez Perez spoke with her sister about the little girl's homework in the parking lot, Dulce and Manuel ran towards the swings on the playground about 30 yards away. They were out of sight for less than 3 minutes when Manuel ran back, crying and pointing to a spot near park buildings, she said. I thought she was playing hide and go seek, Alavez Perez said. She called her brother and told him to bring Lalo, the family's 8-month-old pit bull boxer mix, to search for Dulce, and then she phoned police. Local and state police, as well as the FBI, started hunting for Dulce. On Wednesday, electronic signs on the New Jersey highways flashed Amber Alert messages about the girl. Compiling information from witnesses' accounts, police said in a statement, detectives believe Dulce was taken by a light-skinned Hispanic male, 5'6" to 5'8" inches, thin build, no facial hair, and facial acne, wearing orange sneakers, red pants, and a black shirt. The suspect was last seen leading Dulce from the Brition City Park playground to a red van with a sliding door and tinted windows at approximately 4:20 p.m. on Monday. Dulce's photo was sent over TV airwaves and shared on Facebook. On Wednesday, Brition Police Chief Michael Gamari said that nothing has been ruled out as authorities questioned any relative of the child, anyone with any connection to the victim or the mother. He added, there were rumors the mother orchestrated this. He said, we take all things we hear into account. He added, I'd be remiss if we didn't look at this also, like it could be a random act too. While the chaos ensued, Alavez Perez, who is 5 months pregnant, absorbed another blow. Her boyfriend, the father of the child she is carrying, was being questioned by authorities about the abduction when it was discovered that he is an undocumented Mexican citizen, she said. Alavez Perez believes he's now in ICE custody and may be deported. Federal officials said Wednesday that they could not determine whether that was true. Alavez Perez's parents, who have reversed last names, Norma Perez Alavez and then Camilo Alavez Perez, immigrated from Mexico 20 years ago. The father works in a nursery and the mother in a food factory. While Dulce and Manuel live in the family house, Alavez Perez lives in a room in a nearby house. She says she and her mother fought. My mom kicked me out. She said I was angry so much and not helping out. But because I had Dulce, when I was 14, my parents loved her like she was their daughter and took official custody of her. I'm okay with that. She says she neither works nor is in school. Dulce's father, she said, is from Mexico, and after being with Alavez Perez in New Jersey for a while, returned there to study at a university in Sonolia. He's finishing his studies so he can give a better life to my daughter, she said. Alavez Perez says she had trouble with drugs and alcohol and had fallen into depression in the past, but she added those negatives are no longer factors. One of Alavez Perez's sisters, Nayeli Alavez, 21, said that Dulce is a mischievous, very smart little girl who always listens to her mother. Earlier in the month, she began kindergarten at Buckshooten Road Elementary School in Brition. As the day wore on Wednesday, local residents joined of reporters in Brition City Park, where police officials occasionally answered questions. Leaning against a car in the parking lot, Alavez Perez's father, Camilo, kept quiet. Visuals with relatives awaiting some kind of word. He declined to speak. Anyone with information can call 911 or Bishop Police at 856-451-0033. And I believe that this article was posted on September 18th at 6:59 in the morning, but it was updated on September 19th. So, a lot of interesting facts that were in here, and one of the many that I would like to squash is, did he run to the car to tell her Dulce left, or did she get out and go check?
It's a good question.
If
Did mom get out the car, or did little Manny come running back to the car to let mom know what was up? Because the article says that he came to the car, right?
yeah,
If I'm not mistaken, that's what I believe I seen it here in this article, and I heard you read it as well.
yeah, that was the question, because that's been kind of circulating around, between all the articles. They've been actually asking if did he really come up to the car, or did she get up and actually go out there and see if she was missing, because it was an awful long time before she found out. Not an awful long time, but it was quite enough time when she noticed that Dulce wasn't around. Now, the only striking thing is that it's a 50-50 thing, and we're not here to judge, we're here to clarify. So it's a 50-50 thing. We've heard that she got out of the car and she went over there to see, because she didn't see them. But then we have other articles, and it's not just one article that states it, but we have several other articles that state the same thing, that Manny ran up to the car crying and pointing that way, and him not being able to speak. If he did run up to the car crying and pointing that way, I wonder if he was trying to tell her then that something was happening. And since he couldn't speak, it was a little harder for her to understand, and she assumed that she was playing hide and go seek. Because he can't really speak, he can't say nothing, so all he can do is just point that way, and and tell her. But verbally, he wasn't able to explain to her that maybe she got taken away. Now, another thing that I wanted to bring up was the dog. Once again, we hear about this dog again, and now we have a name on the dog. Now, I still want to know, who was that? Who did she call? It states it clearly here on the article. Who did she call to tell him to bring the dog? And on here on the article, it says that she contacted her brother and she told him to bring Lalo, which was an 8-month-old pit bull, boxer mix, and his name was Lalo. And what I don't understand is that even after these searches, you still have no.
Well, per the article, it says the brother. It says she called her brother and told him to bring Lalo, a 8-month-old pit bull boxer mix, to search for Dulce, and she phoned the police.
But that's,
in other words, she called her brother to bring the dog first, and then she called the police.
yes. And then that's another thing. I've throughout all of these articles, you've even seen that people, even regular citizens, have during the search brought their own dogs with them to search for Dulce. If you called them the one time to come when you finally realized that maybe she had gotten abducted, why didn't you continue to bring the dog during any of those searches? That's one question.
Two good questions that you have. I mean, we have the question and the question about did mom get out the car, or did the little boy come running to the car? And then this question about the dog. That kind of boggles my mind.
That does.
What y'all think in the chat room? Let us know.
I mean, only and it's only because we wonder so much, and all we have is a video of her at the store, and now we have a small clip of the 911 call that was released. But yet again, we have so many. We have this said individual that she called to come to the park with a dog that we never seen during any of the searches. And if you called it the one time, you should have, I mean, not that you should have, but I would assume that you would still be bringing the dog since it bonded real well with Dulce. Apparently, you thought that the dog can find her. Why didn't you bring the dog during your searches then? If you thought you could find her the first time, why didn't you bring the dog?
Right. Why wasn't the dog more involved in these searches?
And then another thing, and these are just two things that stick out from this article. It's the one with the dog, and then the one, did Manny walk back to the car and then tell her something was wrong with Dulce? Either way, maybe, and if that did happen and she panicked and tried to make herself look good and say that she got out of the car, because some people can want to make themselves not look like they were all the way negligent. Not saying that they have fault in what happened, that she orchestrated the whole thing, but too many signs of negligence probably could have landed a whole different type of story. But I've always thought that I've always went with the fact that Manny did run up to the car. And I thought of also the possibility of her getting out of the car and walking up to the swings and seeing that the ice cream was on the ground, and I assume maybe they smacked the ice cream off, out of his hands. They smacked the ice cream. That made Dulce maybe run after the person who did that, and then that's where they got the perfect abduction right there. Or either way, did that happen? Did they smack the ice cream out of his hand? Dulce still went running back there, but Manny went to go get his mom because apparently, something was happening and he felt like the mom needed to know. But it being that Manny is unverbal, it probably made it a lot more difficult to communicate with him and actually knowing than a child just coming out to say that Dulce left in a car. It probably was real hard for him to explain that to her. He probably walked her over there. I believe I seen a video a long time ago with Manny and Dulce, and it was with their grandparents, and the grandfather was walking far ahead with Dulce, and he was making his grandmom known that she was getting farther away, and he was trying to hold her hand and tell her to walk quicker. So I'm wondering if those were the same actions that he showed her when he discovered something was wrong, and that's how he was trying to explain it to his mom. I mean, we don't know, because again, he's a nonverbal child who was left behind, an ice cream on the ground, and now you have an article that states in the very beginning that he walked to the car. And then the dog is what I don't understand. If the dog was bonding with the child since birth, let's just say if that dog was a family dog and you've actually had, you got it when the puppy was about 8 to 9 weeks old, and you did the bonding part with the dog, and it's always around the kids. I just don't understand why would you call him to bring him to the park at that said day, but then again you're still not using the dog for independent searches. I mean, because you would want to keep track with what you said. You called over the dog. That's why you took long. But then again, not even the dog is even being shown nowhere. It's like there's.
I mean, it's probably because the dog is not it's not meant for that. But I understand what you're saying, where if they tried to utilize this dog at the beginning, why haven't they tried in other occasions as well? Why is it that we haven't seen this dog anymore? Or why is it that we haven't seen this dog at all? I mean, anymore. Why haven't we seen this dog at all? Because I really haven't seen this dog at all. I just heard about this dog. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you don't see it in any of the park pictures with Dulce. You see her a lot in the pictures, and if it was always a dog that she was always bringing to the park, in those pictures that she's always taking to the park, you would see at least her and the dog together. You don't see a picture
Right.
of her and the dog together. I mean, it's like the dog doesn't exist at the moment, but it existed when she went missing. And it's, if you mentioned it and there's no pictures of Dulce and the dog together. There's actually no family pictures of the dog at all. So you don't see, you actually don't see what type of dog. Now, was it Dulce's dog or was it her brother's dog?
I don't know. Was there two different dogs? Was there two different dogs?
I don't know, because she says she used to bring one to the park.
I mean, as far as this article, they're speaking of Lalo,
The family
8-month
dog.
old pit bull. So, I'm taking it that's the family dog. It belongs to Bruce as well. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
What
because
y'all think in the chat room? You guys been kind of quiet today. What y'all think in the chat room? Give us some insight.
yeah,
When you think about this dog, why is it that we haven't ever seen this dog? And do you guys think about the title? Did Mom get out the car to find out what was going on with Dulce, or did the little boy walk to the car? Because in this article, they're saying that the little boy came to Mom to the car, but yet we've been hearing that for all this time that Mom got out of the car and went to where little Manny was at. So which one is it? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Maybe you guys can help me figure it out as well.
yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Because this dog, Manny walking up to the car, there's already a few news articles, like I said, 50-50. Half of them saying that she stated that she got out of the vehicle and walked up there and noticed that Manny was crying with the ice cream on the ground. And then half of the other articles state that Manny walked up to the car crying, pointing at the buildings. And then that's probably when she got out, noticed that Manny's ice cream was on the ground. She noticed that probably Dulce wasn't around. And and I would give you about a good 5-10 minute frantic window when you come up and you see maybe the ice cream on the ground and he's pointing that way to you, and you're assuming that she's hiding, playing hide and go seek. So you give it about a good 10-minute window. But then you call somebody before you call the police to bring a dog. And the thing is that it says that she called him and then phoned the police, but obviously the police must have got there before him, because during the 911 call, all we hear is an officer coming through. We don't hear a gentleman beforehand. So was he even there present?
Nor did we hear a dog barking. So, yeah, I do believe that the police didn't arrive there before the brother. I mean, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
As far as why would she call her brother with Lalo, the family 8-month-old pit bull? first before she called the police. That boggles my mind.
And to know that it's, if he walked there, by the time he would have walked there, it would have been long gone. I'm pretty sure that person maybe got into the vehicle and drove. So did he, was he old enough to drive? Was it Jose, or was it another brother? You know, because all we see is her. We see the sister, and then the other sister, and then the youngest brother. But we don't see the one that possibly could have drove there with this said dog.
I mean, keeping it real, as I look through this family, this Naoma and the grandma, as I look through their profiles and things, I've seen some strange things as you go way back in history, like videos and stuff. I've seen some strange things, and some of those videos, like one video, I seen little Dulce sitting on a gentleman's lap, and it just didn't. To me, it didn't look appropriate. But then again, I don't know. It could have been a family member, but I know that in my family, we don't get down like that. Like our little girls are not allowed to like sit on men's lap, like talking about. I mean, my daughter, that's my daughter. But she's not allowed to be like sitting on her daddy's lap, like talking about, you know what I'm saying? If she's a little too old for that now at this point. So at that age, that you said was 5 years old. That video that I saw, I think, appropriate for me. To me, in my opinion, for her to be, sitting on this gentleman's lap like that. But then again, I do not know who the gentleman was or what. I know it wasn't dad, and I know it wasn't grandpa. So other than that, I don't know who it could have been. But some families are different than others. You don't get down like that in my family.
Well, we can talk.
What do you think?
We can talk about that video on a whole nother live. The video, yeah, I don't agree with the sitting on the lap. And then it's how you sit on the lap too. You don't instruct your children to sit directly on a lap, sideways lapping. And plus, and that's me, I don't agree on none of my kids sitting on anybody's lap at all, especially when there's drinking involved, especially when it looks too loving. I mean, if you love a child, you love a child, but then your hands roam in places where they shouldn't be roaming. And if you start feeling uncomfortable when your child is sitting on somebody's lap, then that's when you get up and you do something. You don't just sit there and you don't just watch it, and that's what I'm saying. And that's another thing that you talk about, normal behavior. That when a person can normalize that type of behavior to a child, and she might have thought it was okay. I didn't even agree with the fact where he actually told her to get off his lap and then walk and then turn around and come back to him. That was almost like she was catwalking. From
I would love to play that video here, but see, the thing of it is that I wouldn't have the permission of the owner, and without the permission of the owner, I wouldn't do it. But if I can get the permission, which I doubt that I will, I would play it. But it is public information, and what I can do is I can drop the link to the video in the description of this video, and you guys can go check it out for yourself. That's what I can do.
Yes. Because there's no one saying, like I said, we're not here to judge, we're here to clarify. So, and like I said, it could happen to anybody. If it would have happened to me, you guys would have been digging all up in my profile. You guys would have been digging all up in my life. And like I said, we're not here to judge, we're just here to clarify. He had stated that about that video out of the blue, and he kind of caught me off guard with that. Because But in terms of knowing which lines to cross when your kids are sitting on a lap, know that. Okay? And we go back to the article again. Did he really? There's so many lines within these articles, and if you start pulling back from some of these old articles to now, and you start combining what is said now to what was said before, there's in between. There's just a whole bunch of discrepancies. You see what was said before is kind of like being switched around to sounding like what has always been saying, but entirely some information has been taken out and rewritten another way, but it's clearly there. I believe that he did run back to the car. I do still want to know what dog it is that they're talking about, and that's it for me.
That's it for you. That's it for you. That's it for me. Then I do what I'm still lost on the fact which one is it? Did mom get out the car? Or did the little boy run back to the car? It seems like we got two different stories as far as the media. Which one is it? I mean, I would guess that mom got out the car because that's the story that we've been given as far as the prosecutors. So I guess that's what we have to go with that story. But I'm just wondering why was it that they gave us that narrative to begin with. And then, the situation with this dog, like, where is this dog at? Why is it that they haven't used this dog and, in more recent searches? Why is it that we haven't seen pictures with Dulce, with this dog? Where is this dog at? That's my question. But who knows? Who knows where's Lalo, the dog?
And only because she stated she used to take him to the park every day. It's important to think that he would even be involved in searches. He,
Right. Right. He was.
It's like he disappeared. It's like Dulce disappeared with the dog. The dog and Dulce disappeared together.
Right.
That's my concern, because I'm like, no dog, no pictures of the dog, no nothing. Just like her, she vanished. So did the dog. You know what I mean?
Good question. Yeah, great question. But somebody says something, and Alyssa.
And he was 7 months old. Yeah. We had just pulled up the article. And on there it says, Lalo, the family. You want to read it again?
Okay.
It says Lalo, the family.
No.
Well, he's searching for it. It should be coming up shortly.
She's gonna go through it again, one more again for you guys.
What, read the article?
I thought that's what you wanted.
Okay. No, I wanted to read the Lalo part. The dog. That's what she was asking. She said it was 7 months, but nowhere do they mention brother's name. Oh, nowhere do they? No, they don't mention the brother's name or anything like that. You're right. I misunderstood what you wrote. Yeah, it only says, Lalo, the family dog, an 8-month-old pit bull mixed with boxer, and that her brother came. But at no time, I mean, it mentioned the sister's name. You seen how it mentioned the sister's name? It said Nayeli Perez, 21, but it just says that she just phoned her brother with the dog, and then called police. But like, who was he? Like, who was, there it goes. But who was he? Obviously, there's you mentioned all of these names that from day one that have came across her case, like with family wise that have spoken, like Elena Perez. That's the aunt. Her name came out on the article. You have the other one, I believe it's Dora Perez. Her name actually came out in the article. Benny Perez, which is the uncle, also came out in the article. And these people that I'm naming, besides Nayeli, are believed to be the grandmother's brothers and sisters. But anyone that actually spoke in her behalf during these articles, their names came out. You have a person here that you said that she phoned to bring the dog, but then again, you don't see a picture, or this is the brother that I called for him to bring the dog. I mean, it's like they want to find her, but they don't want to clarify what's already out there and why people are assuming that is a strong possibility that they have something to do with it, because there's no clarity into what you said. You need to start showing that as well. If everyone's talking about that and asking you, I would probably be the one to like to shut up people. Like, okay, that's what you're talking about here. Here's a dog. Here's a dog. But when you keep things quiet like that and now you don't see no dog, I don't even know if she has the dog. This is just us. We don't know. But like I said, if she had the dog and she phoned that said gentleman to bring her the dog, you would think that she would still be using the dog for independent searches, just because you've already thought she was kidnapped and then that's why you brought him. So you would still continue to bring him, because at one point you felt like he would find her. And it's like he's non-existent too.
Right, it's like you said, it seems like Dulce disappeared and the dog disappeared.
Yeah, not saying that both of them go in cahoots together, but if you're going to build a timeline from the day that she disappeared, she said that this is why we're going back to this article. Okay, so did he walk up to the car or did you get out? Who was the brother that you phoned on the phone and told him to bring the dog? Because apparently that's the only name we haven't received yet. But we have received names of family members who have spoken out to article, to news, and they actually have their name put out there. But still, to this day, we don't even know not even Jose, because Jose has actually done an interview, which I'm going to find his interview, and then that's the interview we're going to do next probably tomorrow. His interview will be the one that I'm going to do tomorrow, because his interview, he giggled. He upsetted me. I can't even get it out, because he did upset me. Because if they come and they interview you about my daughter who's missing, why are you laughing? He was laughing and chuckling. And I think that if I would have ran across that news article of my brother doing that to me, if I came into it, I think I would lay my brother out. Only because it's not funny that a little girl has been missing. But that's also one that we could bring up too. I don't know if a lot of you guys didn't see the news article, the interview that he did, and he was like shaking his leg, and he was just laughing. He actually had to turn his face to keep on talking because he couldn't hold his composure. I mean, everything was so funny to him, but it wasn't him, because he got interviewed, and in no time did anybody ask him, were you the brother who she phoned to bring the dog? They didn't ask him that, because I'm pretty sure they knew that it wasn't him.
So many mysteries behind this case. So many mysteries. It's like the more we look into this case, it's like the more mysteries we get. Right?
Yeah.
Seems like it's just more and more mysteries.
Melissa says, why haven't they shown a picture of the dog? Yeah, that's what we're saying. Like, why haven't they showed a picture of the dog? I mean, and we're only saying it because we hear so much that you phoned your brother to bring the dog, but yet again, we don't see which dog you're talking about. You say that it was a lovable dog and that people started complaining, but yet again, you don't show a picture or this is the dog that people was complaining about. Nothing. Because were people even complaining then? Were people even complaining, or was that just a little setup, to get
And
things
we
by?
don't even see like past pictures of Dulce with the dog. Like as I look through the profiles that I can't get a hold of, I really didn't see I didn't see no pictures with a dog, Dulce and the dog together. Did you?
I seen a dog that was named Lalo, but I didn't see Dulce with the dog. There was only one picture on there and in the profile, and it was a picture of the dog. So, I mean, I that picture was like long searching activity. Like, it's not something that you could find right away, but I found a picture of the dog, of the said dog, or whichever dog, because at this, but it being that the article did state that she did phone her brother to bring Lalo the dog. That picture that's on that profile does say Lalo the dog. So,
Lalo, the dog.
but who had that dog?
And where's that dog at today? Where was that dog at that day, that September 16th
16th.
of 2019, when little Dulce Maria Alavez went missing?
And I'm gonna dig into some more because I did just receive a message that did say that something about that the dog was in Mexico. Lalo the dog was in Mexico.
What? Lalo the dog in Mexico?
I mean, that was the message that I just got now.
Why you just got that right now?
But we need to, before we speak on that, we would have to verify that because we don't have nothing to back us up with.
Most definitely.
But if that is the case, then how did it get? I mean, maybe it was a one-day trip. That's something that we have to look into now for sure. Let me write this down. So someone stated that Lalo was in Mexico. Maybe not maybe. I hope it wasn't the time that she disappeared. Lalo was.
I wonder why was it that, I guess as far as this article, they say that the little boy came to the car, but yet we been going on this narrative that mom got out of the car. I wonder which one it really is. Did mom get out the car, or did this little boy come running back to the car?
I agree, Melissa. And that's what I want to know, because that's what she stated. She stated that she left the dog there that day at her house because somebody was complaining. And she kept saying that the dog, was just a lovable dog. So for one, who complained about your dog being there? Was it the same gentleman that could have possibly took her? I mean, don't ever not say maybe it wasn't them, because when you start saying maybe it wasn't them, then guess what? We ain't gonna find her, girl. Because if that person stated that they felt intimidated because your dog was there and there was other children around, was it a parent that was there that thought that the dog was going to harm their children? Or was it just somebody that was just sitting out there with no children, was just sitting there, and did the dog come up to them and maybe it felt some type of, intimidated? Because per the article, it states that maybe it was someone who just loved watching kids, right? So maybe the dog went up to it, right? And he felt, wait a minute, this dog here is intimidating me. If I was to snatch me up a kid today, this dog is going to get in the way. Was he the one who told you about your dog and then that's the reason why you left it home? Or was there no dog and we just added the dog in there for some reason?
Yeah, and that's the strange how the day that supposedly they don't bring the dog with them. Poof, she's gone.
Yeah, and I agree. That video of her brother having that interview, I'm telling you, if I could have went to the screen and punched him in his nose, I probably would have. And only because it's disrespectful. And if you notice that, I wish I would have had it now, but tomorrow we'll pull it up for tomorrow so then we could talk about it tomorrow. But at least some of you guys have actually seen it. But in this one, he shows signs of anxiety. He has his hands in his pockets. He's like, shaking his leg up and down like caballito, like how my grandma used to say when you wanted to sit on her lap. And even the person who was filming him put the camera down to show you his knee, his what he was doing with his bottom half, because he was just randomly shaking his legs, and then just laughing. That's disrespectful. How is anybody supposed to take you guys seriously when you have somebody like that doing that, and you're talking about that's your niece who's 5, and you think it's that hilarious on your first interview?
It's like I was just telling you. I mean, when I was going through that family profile, some of the videos that I ran into, that just really disturbed me.
Yeah, like I said, we're not here to judge. We're just here to clarify.
Right. I mean, I'm not judging. It's just, you see certain things. I mean, we're trying to find this little girl, and as you look to the family and try to kind of like visualize these people's character and what type of people they are, and trying to figure out what happened to the little girl. I mean, you just notice little things, and I mean, you have no choice but to come up with your own opinion.
Yeah, I agree. And I agree with you, Melissa. It could have been, that's not, if you knew you was camera shy and you knew, okay, everybody knows themselves, right? If you know you was going to be camera shy and it wasn't going to help in the disappearance of your little niece, then don't get on it. Because rather much people just talk than to see for their own eyes. Like, we literally seen this man shaking like there was an earthquake, and then he's holding his whole composure from busting out laughing. And even if he was shy or has some type of he was cleared. Obviously, he was 15 at the time, so he was cleared even by the parents to go on ahead and do that interview. Because don't you have to get permission from your parents when you're under 18 to have an interview?
If you was camera shy, you should have got in front of the camera. What was the reason for him being in front of the camera?
He was explaining, how his niece disappeared, and how he has to be there and step up to be, to be with his sister, and things like that. But you're sitting here. You're sitting here laughing. You know your ways. I mean, I would say it. Look, it just wasn't. It wasn't like how you expected to get an interview from the family. You know what I mean? The grandma, Justin Bieber, cries herself a river. The mom, flat rock, no emotion. Maybe one that was squeezed here and there. And then you have the brother who thinks it's a joke during the interview to be smirking and laughing. And I think that the only one that was honest and pure was Nayeli when she stepped up in the park and said that for people to stop badgering her sister. I think that was a little bit more heartfelt. But in reference to like the brother, how he held his interview, even the grandpa, what was the grandpa talking about? I mean, there's so many, all of these interviews and are not helping them in this case. And then that's why people think that they might have done something, because they're consistently changing things. Their body behavior doesn't go along with what's happening. There's someone that's missing and is kidnapped, but how you're acting and how you're doing things and how you compose yourself doesn't match anything what's going on. It's not a circus. it's a missing kid, a missing child.
Right. It seems like they're being